the stuff that I saw both last week and what happened last night, I'm just like, half of this stuff is just a lie, right? It's like World War III has started. Here's the destruction that they're showing. And some people were trolling, like showing Gaza's destruction, like as what happened in Israel. And people were like, I can't believe it happened. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute. No, that's not what happened. That was actually Gaza. It's like, oh, crap. I don't know. What I want you to do is follow people who are reliable. Well, last Friday, obviously, Iran launched a barrage attack. I guess it was supposed to be the largest drone swarm attack in the history of warfare.
So though like every New Year.
Hold on, but it's the beginning of drone warfare, so it's kind of like being like the very best when something first starts.
I don't know. Obama did it pretty good.
No. Drone swarm is a number of drones in one attack.
Oh, he did very.
It's like, hey, nobody's done this before, like on this scale. So let's send like 200. It'll be the largest one in history. And like 5 years from now, it'll be like, oh, that's like 50,000 drones is really
and least successful.
A big one, you know. So anyway, I think they're just kind of getting it. And they did ballistic and cruise missiles, and basically looked pretty stupid doing it because most of those things got swatted out of the sky pretty easily. We'll get into that a little bit. But every time they do something like this, the IRGC drops their own hype video.
Is this supposed to be impressive?
I don't know, because none of those actually hit their targets. So that's also probably bad.
I'm not sure they had targeting systems on them.
No, well, they're just like, point that way.
No, of course they
See what happens. So they do that. But look, not to be outdone, Israel hinted at their own kind of hype video posting this morning on X.
Hey, are those new F-16s we just sold them?
Yeah, the brand new ones. Brand new, like it's a couple of models back. But hey, look, they're still good. Iran's kind of playing around with the F-14 still, so we'll get to that in just a second. But look, late last night around 4 a.m. Israel time, reports emerged of explosions in Iran, Syria, and Iraq. And so I wanted to just give you a handful of fast facts here. And I'll start off with this. If you're not following Ginger Snap Lane the Brain on Twitter, what's your handle?
Lane Dean Kendall, I think.
Lane Dean. You need to know these things, guys. Research. Do me a favor. Pull up Research's Twitter handle because I want you guys to make sure that you go and follow him. There we go. At Lane Dean Kendall.
Because my name is
like first,
Lane,
middle, and last name.
It is, yeah.
Like if anybody wanted to steal your identity.
Who would do something so crazy but using their middle name? That's wild.
We should totally.
I have another one.
Change your handle.
What's your other one?
Do you have a burner Twitter?
No.
Oh, you said
I
you
have
had
two
another
middle
one.
names.
Oh, you have two middle names?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, goodness. We're not going to get to the second one. But follow him because it's important.
Kane? Is it Dean Kane? Lane Dean Kane?
Man,
it's close to. It's a similar vein. Yeah.
Vein?
It's in a similar vein.
Dean Bean Kendall?
Lane the Vein. That would be a cool nickname.
Lane the Vein.
Comment in chat. What do you think the other middle name is?
Yes, let us know. Let us know what you think the other middle name is. But make sure when stuff like this happens, make sure you follow the right people who are going to give you accurate information because, my gosh, the stuff that I saw both last week and what happened last night, I'm just like, half of this stuff is just a lie, right? It's like World War III has started. Here's the destruction that they're showing. And some people were trolling, like showing Gaza's destruction, like as what happened in Israel. And people were like, I can't believe it happened. And then they're like, oh, wait a minute. No, that's not what happened. That was actually Gaza. It's like, oh, crap. I don't know. What I want you to do is follow people who are reliable. And we'll have a few of those people outside of you. Obviously, Lane Dean Kendall. Worst Twitter handle ever. Lane Dean Kendall. I'm not saying your name is bad. I'm just saying it's hard to remember. Like, and Dean, is it D-E-E-N or D-E-A-N? And Kendall, is it two L's, one L? I see there's one
Can't figure that out. You probably don't want to follow my account.
Probably true. Don't do that. We'll post it so you can follow it and just click a button that says follow. But so what we had, so here's fast fact number one. What happened? The first explosions last night were reported in Isfahan, Iran. And we have actually some of the earlier, you can see there where it is on the map, south of Tehran. We have some of the early videos that were shared on Telegram from Isfahan. Seems to be something happening right there. I'll get to why I say it like that in just a second because Iran is like basically going to say nothing to see here in just a minute, but Isfahan is the home to the Isfahan Nuclear Technology Center.
That is important.
That seems to be a little bit important, and it's a facility that operates Chinese-supplied research. Come on.
Yeah.
Research reactors.
Well,
it's for research and medical purposes.
Yeah. For energy.
Yes. I think for energy, and do me a favor and fact check me on this, but like to use it, you have to enrich uranium to like 90%. To make it into a weapon. And I think for medical purposes, it's somewhere around 5 or 6%. I thought it was single digits, maybe 10%. And they're way above that already. And they're like, it's just for advanced medical purposes.
We know they could enrich within a week.
Yeah.
They can make weapons grade uranium within a week. It's the weaponization of the delivery system that they're having trouble with.
Well,
so it's not even the
they've got buddies in
technology
North Korea.
They
can
do
help them out. So, and that's a problem. But real time, Iran and CNN both denied Israel struck the nuclear facility. So it doesn't look like, at least right now, it doesn't look like they were actually, reporting a strike on the facility. And the IAEA actually came out and said that there was no report of any damage to any of Iran's reactors immediately, because that's what people thought, right? When we looked at what Iran did to Israel last week,
right?
One of the natural kind of like, okay, what are they going to hit? What are the target packages going to look like when they strike back? And I think the answer to that question was not an if they strike back, but it was like when they strike back, where are they going to go?
Yeah.
Right. And obviously nuclear capabilities is something that Israel is to take out.
Isfahan was not, even if the nuclear facilities weren't hit, I think it was obviously targeted for a very specific reason, which will come up a little bit later in the show. But exactly.
Yeah. And there are actually multiple reports that suggest the target was actually the 8th Tactical Iranian Air Force Base outside of Isfahan. Now, the outside of Isfahan is really important to understand because it's not in the city center. When we get to a video in just a second, I just want you to remember that, put that right there. And that base is home to Iran's American-manufactured F-14, and it actually looks like Iran will be sending up their very own Maverick to intercept the Israeli drones.
Who is that?
Dude, that's the biggest badass in the world.
That gives Lane all kinds of pleasure.
The most community-noted man on X.
Yeah, what's his name? Jackson Hinkle?
Yeah.
It's your nemesis.
Okay.
Did he block you?
Okay, I know who that is.
No, he didn't block me.
No, he should.
Okay.
Yeah,
Can you bring that? Can we play that again just for Lane? Because I think he needs another pick-me-up.
Sure.
But by the way, he made that headband. That's acrylic paint that's on there.
Can I see it again?
Oh, wait a minute. That's right. He tweeted something out. Can we pull
That's his tweet from last night.
No, that's not right, but we don't have the words.
He has a Photoshop tweet with him and the Ayatollah, and it says, "Enrich the uranium, sir." And
isn't there another one where he said, "Don't stop Iran" or something like that?
There's a million of them.
He's like cheering. Is it trolling? Is he just being stupid? Because I know he's a big shill for Xi Jinping and
anything
the
that
Chinese
is
Party.
anti-American. He's a MAGA communist, according to him.
Oh, that's right, a MAGA communist.
What is that?
Douchebag.
Does that make him a lot of money?
He gave a speech to the Houthis. To a Houthi conference. This dude,
he did a Zoom deal. He didn't go there because they probably would.
No, he zoomed it. There's got to be a foreign.
There we go. Go Iran! Don't hold back.
And you can see the acrylic paint there.
At least he's crafty.
Yeah, he painted a stupid little flag on his head.
Yeah.
That's the credit you give him, Toolman.
Yeah.
What a cool dude.
It's not much credit.
Wow, that's cool. That's
I'm not
really
saying
cool.
he's cool. I'm saying he's crafty.
No, he's cool, dude. Look at that. He's got good hair and everything. He's a cool guy.
Well, yeah, it's not
douchebag.
Yeah, we can do a whole thing
On Jackson Hinkle.
Come on the show and debate me, Jackson. That'll be fun.
He won't. Sir, start enriching the uranium. Did he photoshopped himself in there?
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah, I love it. Makes himself. There's so many people out there that do this stuff. Like that just. I wonder if he's like sitting back and just doing this for clicks and like money. And he's like, I don't
That's
care.
what I have to imagine, right?
Yeah.
That's why I said
He was a socialist. He ran as a socialist in San Clemente for the city council. He was an environmentalist.
Really?
Yes.
Well,
like
he knows
3
that
years
China
ago.
cares about the environment, and so that's a natural ally.
He's a smart dude that's managed to enrich himself off of conflict. I don't hold it against him. It's the algorithm for supporting it.
Yeah.
So whatever.
Well, he is the bottom gun. So Syria's one of the other targets that was hit, a Syrian air defense position. And then Iraq, I don't know if Iraq was a target or if a missile basically was on its way to hit a better target in Iran.
There's a lot of discussion about why things ended up there. The first reports were that there were IRGC command officers in Baghdad that were sure, but I don't think any of that was confirmed from what I could find.
One of the missiles we do have footage of actually did fall near Baghdad.
They're just on it, huh?
Let's just check it out, guys.
Yeah, give it a couple knocks.
Hey, Habib, get the stick. What are you doing? What are you doing? That's a large weapon that has fallen from the sky and is sitting there. Now, obviously, the fall from the sky should have detonated, but you never know when something's going to click and something's going to go boom and you're done. Just stay away from it. Let somebody else go in there and take care of it.
Those guys are at least 10 years past their expiration date.
You said this happens all the time.
Nowhere. Yeah, dude, they would. We would be in Afghanistan. And we're telling the Afghan soldiers, we have a translator, like, hey, don't go over there. There's a minefield. They go, this way, over here.
I just
Step
march.
Look, it's okay. No mine. And then, like, yeah, one of you is going to blow up.
Oh.
Dummies.
I know.
You gotta blow up, you dummies.
Stop walking in the minefield, jerks. But anytime, good rule of thumb, anytime you see a bomb laying in a field, don't go up to it and start riding it like a freaking cowboy.
Words to live by.
That would have
Riding
been
a
cool,
horse,
though. Again,
you know,
been cool
this isn't Armageddon where he's like, woohoo, on the nuclear bomb before they blow up the rock. Anyway, fast fact number 2. Here's the fallout. Right now, the extent of the damage is unknown.
Both sides are being very quiet about it.
They are being very quiet about that. It kind of pisses me off a little bit, and I'll get to why, and I understand it, but it kind of pisses me off. And the New York Times has also reported that Iranian officials confirmed the strike hit a military base near Isfahan. It's funny because they go back and forth on anything actually happening.
Anything public, they're denying anything happened, but then there's always a couple people behind that say they say what happened, and like, oh, we were not supposed to say that?
Exactly.
I was just kidding.
And listen, this is part of that. Their media, Iranian media, and their supporters are downplaying the situation, saying, get this, all is well in Isfahan. Mostly peaceful, but fiery night.
و فضای اصفهان رو می‌بینید که کاملا شهر در امنیت و آرامش هست. مردم دارن
That's the
زندگی
city center, by the way. We're very close to it.
حدود 1-2 ساعت پیش نیمه شب صداهایی در آسمان اصفهان شنیده میشه که اون چیزی که ما اطلاعات کسب کردیم چند تا ریز پرنده در آسمان اصفهان حرکت می‌کرده که مورد هدف قرار گرفته و خب حالا تا این لحظه مسئولان امنیتی استان اطلاعاتی در این زمینه در اختیار ما نذاشتن. برخی از منابع هم گفته بودن که تأسیسات اصفهان مورد هدف قرار گرفته که اون چیزی که ما تحقیق کردیم این اطلاعات غلط بوده و هیچ جایی مورد هدف قرار نگرفته. اصفهان در امنیت و آرامش و مردم دارن زندگی عادی خودشون رو انجام میدن. اطلاعات کاملتر رو در ارتباطات بعدی تقدیم خواهم کرد.
They're normal getting beat for not wearing hijab lives.
Yeah, and he takes a phone call. Yes, sir, I said exactly what you said. No, we didn't show the burning airbase. We're fine. Like,
I'm sorry, what did you say, Lane? I was talking over you. I'm sorry.
No. I said they just went back to their normal getting beat for not wearing hijab lives.
Oh, yeah. True. Yeah. That sucks to
the life of Iranian woman.
Our regular normal lives where bombs fall every day.
And we walk up to them and ride them. Like an amusement park.
You know what this feels like? This Iran-Israel thing, shooting missiles and missing. It feels like when Andy Kaufman would fight Jerry Lawler.
What?
That's what?
Never mind. All right.
The WWE reference, I think.
Is it?
It was a wrestler that would fight comedian Andy Kaufman. He would always.
Really?
You know what? I'm sorry I brought this up. Please continue. There's one dork out there who's laughing his ass off, and then
you thought we were gonna be there with you on that?
Yeah.
Do we look like Brodigan to you? He knows it right now. If Brodigan's watching, he's losing his mind because he's like, we're uncultured people if we don't know about Andy Kaufman, he said, and Robbie Lawler. The Lawler thing sounds familiar.
I take it back, everyone.
Well, look, anyway, I think I did want them to pan all the way around because obviously a base was hit. We saw this giant ball of fire last night. We heard the sirens going off.
Which, again, things coming out of Telegram, that's as accurate as we can find.
Yeah.
So if that turns out to be that, something from a day ago or 2 days, perhaps. But we do know that the airbase was targeted.
Right.
Iranian officials confirmed it was hit. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So pro-Iranian channels, like you said, on Telegram are also running a little bit of defense saying, and I quote, Isfahan city and province is calm and safe. The origin of the sounds of the explosion is not a foreign origin or a military attack. I think they said something about it being like a hunting base.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that means.
That could have been a translation, but they said it was the Army hunting base, so I don't...
Some guys were out there
my
just
Farsi's a little rusty
blowing
right
off
now.
some steam and shooting some guns up into the sky. And
hunting wabbits.
Yeah. doing something. But here's actually a live look at Tehran's airport at the time of these denials. Sorry about that. Here's Iran actually closing airspace and canceling flights.
Everything's fine.
Nothing to see here. Move on.
They were actually just all Spirit Airlines, so it does make sense.
This is just like what Alaska Airlines said. Our planes are perfectly fine. All flights are canceled.
That's right. Every one of them is going to be gone through with a fine-tooth comb now, but nothing's wrong with any of them. And they also, at about 9:43 p.m. Our time, so 5:43 in Tehran, the IRGC shut down the internet in Iran for periods of time. I think what they said is there were outages.
Yeah, there was a guy in Isfahan that was on Twitter last night talking on his VPN, and he was mentioning that's where this information.
It kind of pop in and out.
Yeah,
you said on the spaces.
Yeah.
So that seems like a whole lot was going on, and Iran was trying to downplay it. That I understand that. I understand downplaying what's going on to your population, but it's kind of hard to look over at a base and see it being on fire and having not said anything about it. But here's fast fact number 3. Why did Israel choose this method of attack? And this is where I think we can have a little bit of a conversation about this, because I get a little pissed off about how they chose to do this, but I also understand it. An unnamed Israeli official told the Washington Post that, quote, the strike was intended to signal that Israel has the ability to strike inside the country.
Yeah.
Was that ever in doubt?
Maybe in Iran.
Yeah.
Not in Iran.
There's a lot of delusion.
Yeah, it's a lot of it's different folk over there.
Has Israel ever struck in Iran in any way?
Clandestinely.
There you go.
Yes.
They've killed all of their nuclear scientists. It's like, go ahead and promote
Allegedly.
the next guy, and we.
Well, Iran has the iron bucket.
I will make one note here, and again, this is all semantics, but the most of the Iranians speaking on this in America were very adamant that they hate, and again, I understand why we have to do it, but using the term Iran, they're like, this is the Islamic Republic, because this is no way in representation of the people, and it's really not.
No, I understand. I agree.
It's not like America where you're like, oh, Biden doesn't represent the people. Well, whatever, 40 to 60% at any given time, whatever.
Yeah.
They represent the clergy and their Revolutionary Guard, and that's it.
No, I know. It's definitely, we hate not the Iranian people, because there was the Green Movement. There was the whole movement to try to actually move away from kind of this theocracy, essentially, that they're living under. But it hasn't worked out very well. But then I understand this point, like we've talked about, that this is basically like a deterrent. Like, okay, just saying, okay, we have the ability to strike there. Fine. I get it. But, this attack does, like you were saying, kind of gives people an off-ramp.
Yeah.
And that is kind of silly in some ways to me, because nobody wants the off-ramp.
I think Israel
Iran and Israel, I don't think they actually want to go to nuclear war.
No,
or anything
they
like
don't.
That,
What do you mean by off-ramp? I'm sorry. What do you mean by off-ramp?
Off-ramp, like they can kind of diffuse the open war between their countries. Now they can just go back to the clandestine war that they've been fighting for the last, 50 years or so. Okay. Not necessarily with just Iran, but Iran, like they're funding Hamas, they're funding Hezbollah, they're funding the Houthis. Like they're at war with Israel through their proxies. Why do we act like that's anything different than actually being at war with somebody? Well, I know we've done that before.
It's not, but I think Israel really does not want to have to spread themselves that thin when Hamas is really the focus right now. They have to do enough to Iran or the IRA, whatever, but they don't want to get into a full-scale regional war, because their first set of priorities is getting Hamas out of the Gaza Strip.
Right. No, and that makes sense. And look, Iran saves face. Like last night, their foreign minister told CNN, in case the Israeli regime embarks on adventures, I believe that's an overlay there. There we go. Again, and takes action against the interests of Iran, the next response from us will be immediate.
That was right before the attack.
Level. Yeah, exactly. They basically said, for us, this matter is closed when they attacked last week, when they sent that giant, swarm of drones that 0% of actually hit. I think it was a couple of the missiles that did hit, but not the drones. I think they all got swatted out of the sky pretty easily, because it takes them 4 hours to get there. It's like, hey, we sent some drones. They'll be there at 2 p.m. It's noon.
I think their batteries just died. I don't. Like 4 hours of battery.
That's the stupidest attack I've ever heard of, Josh. It's like basically saying, hey, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, listen, we're got about a week.
You got to sign for it.
Yeah, you got a week. We're coming in. We're leveling the city. And then you come in and it's like, hey, we shot down the plane before you could get there. Well, it's because we told you a week before that we were heading that direction.
It's called the Enola Gay.
Yes.
They're on the side.
The ship coming to you may be gay. 1920s gay, not 1990s gay. Different. I don't understand the whole point of this. It's both of these sides are playing this kind of publicity game.
Yes.
And it's really stupid to me because
what would you have them do?
No, here's why I think it's stupid. It's stupid because all it takes is in Iran's case, it takes a little bit more success.
Yeah.
Accidental success. They were depending on the fact that the United States and Israel would likely knock down almost every one of those missiles. What happens if they didn't? What happens if a lot of those missiles hit their targets? Yeah. What happens if a lot of those drones actually do make it through and hit their targets? Now you have full-scale war. That is playing a very risky game. I trust Israel more because of their capabilities to do something like this and have a surgical strike and then be done than I do with Iran doing something stupid like that and saying, I hope all this works out because, hey, you guys need to swat these out of the sky. Otherwise, they're going to hit and start a full war. Like, do you think that Israel wouldn't have responded if 50% of the projectiles, there were several hundred total?
Yeah,
that's why I think this is stupid.
I understand, but that happened, and then Israel was left with the decision. There's a reality that happened. So I'm asking you, what would you have had them do in this situation?
I wanted Israel's response to be slightly stronger.
Okay,
slightly stronger, something that actually could. Like, I wanted everybody to be able to see they hit them and they hit them hard, but not so hard that they feel like they have to do something crazy in retaliation. Right now, we have I think they hit something. Maybe in Isfahan, they hit a base.
Sure, but if you look at the response, like you said, here's the quote from the Iranians last night, and here's the one this morning. So it seems like it kind of did the job.
Okay, so let me read the quote. You're right. This morning, an Iranian official told Reuters that he has no plan. There was no plan to respond. The foreign source of the incident has not been confirmed. We have not received any external attack. I don't understand that. And the discussion leans more towards infiltration than attack. So that's my whole point. I want it to be absolutely 100% clear. Like, if you got to paint Ben Shapiro's face on a missile and it goes over and you have a camera on it, fine. Israel sent these in. Stop screwing around. Everything's done.
Who are the Israelis trying to convince? Us? The public?
No,
Who are they trying to convince?
I think they're trying to fight the PR war against basically the same people.
They're trying to convince the IRGC to knock it the hell off. And that quote right there, they know that it was Israel. Everybody knows, but they're still saying, we don't know who it was.
I just wanted
We're not going to do
a little
anything.
bit more obvious. Just a little bit more.
Maybe that's their out because they're not embarrassing.
Yes, that is exactly what it is.
So what does that do?
So you
allows them to focus?
Then the people are going to be like, why aren't you responding? You know, if they put out this
They killed one of their leaders in Damascus. We fried the leader of the IRGC. Soleimani, is that it? Not Soleimani. What's his name?
Soleimani?
Soleimani, yeah. We fried these guys. They're not going to respond. Just show enough strength to put this thing to bed. I don't like playing this game out.
Putting this to bed.
So what that is,
it's one of those things. You want to screw around, fine. There's going to be consequences.
What you're saying is a full-on regional war in the Middle East. That's what this is.
No, I don't want to go that far.
But that's what will happen.
I don't agree. I think they could have shown a little bit more force, and it wouldn't have happened because they've obviously done things in the past to them, and nothing has happened. What they are doing. Here's the thing. Do you think? This is a question for you, and then we'll move on because we got one other thing I want to hit really quickly before we're done. Do you think this is the end of it? What are we doing? Now, I know people have said this before in the past when we talked about Russia and Ukraine, like people are calling me a warmonger. I'm absolutely not. I want the very opposite of war. I want peace. When that option is not on the table, though, I don't want to just let a conflict go on and on and on and on and on, which is what it's doing right now. You look at this October 7th thing and you look at what happened here. This is just one of you can name 10 in the last decade. Not necessarily at the same scale, but rocket attacks coming in. It's part of everyday life in Israel.
Do you think Israel has the ability by themselves to finish off Iran with their Hezbollah on the north border, with Gaza, all that?
Then what do? Just sit there and take the attacks from now into eternity?
No, I don't. I think you solve your problem at hand first before you worry about anything else. And I think if they want to take,
it seems like they're doing a pretty dang good job with Hamas.
It's still going on. The hostages are still all there. There's still not a solution.
That's a different story. That's not taking out
Hamas.
Not taking out Hamas is different than getting the hostages back.
If they took out Hamas, they'd have the hostages back.
Not necessarily. You can take out the leadership and still not have the hostages because most likely most of them are dead. That's the unfortunate part about this. That's probably why Hamas is not willing to negotiate and return any of the hostages because they probably don't have nearly as many as they said they do. They're holding that as a chip. My point is, if this is going to be a thing, let it be a thing now and be done. Israel has been living in this hell for so long. And I'm not taking sides on it. I'm just saying, and I do take sides. I do think Israel is more on the right than they are. But this has been hell. Why are we prolonging this stuff? Do something short of causing World War III, nuclear bombs, and all that stuff. But do you think that's not the end result for Israel? They just cease to exist at some point if they don't strengthen. Iran eventually gets the bomb and decides to use it. Syria uses gas against them. I don't know.
I think maybe there's a diplomatic channel where the Israelis and the Saudis can have normal relations.
They can, but Iran hates the Saudis. Who cares?
And then the U.S. has a defense pact with the Saudis, and all of a sudden Iran's position is drastically weakened. I think
maybe that's true.
I think what you're I do think what you're insinuating would necessitate direct U.S. involvement.
I'm just saying you need to have the strong deterrence is don't screw around. That's a strong deterrence to me. Don't screw around. Let me go through the rest of this really quickly because I don't want World War III as well. I understand I'm walking a very fine line. I'm walking a very fine line.
Middle Eastern conflict would not be World War.
I don't want a broader Middle Eastern conflict. That's what I'm saying. And I know that that's a fine line to walk, but I hate this pussyfooting around. And I think that's the right word. I hate that word, but I think that's the right way to use it.
I love hearing you say it, though.
Stop it. That's not what I meant to do there. But look, when events like this happen, it's important. And you said Saudi Arabia and Israel, I know that connection really does help them, right, in the Middle East. I know having these, assurances, those things help them. And it makes it to where people basically stay in their box to some degree because they don't want to drag us into a conflict they know they would lose. Got it. But when these things happen, it's important to filter this mass information, the people like Jackson Hinkle and others that are going to be putting out stuff like that. He actually said, speaking of Jackson Hinkle, that it was a U.S. proxy attack by MEC, which is basically an Iranian dissident organization. But look, follow Lane.
I think if it was a U.S. proxy attack, they would have hit the target.
I think they did, though. Israel hitting Iran.
Oh, I meant
he was saying it was a proxy attack, basically by MEC. It's like, it was MEC. It wasn't the Israelis. Dang it! Basically, they hit us, and we don't want to give them any credit for it. But look, OSINT Defenders, somebody good to follow. I don't even know how to say
Xerxes Iran.
Xerxes Iran. Yeah. Xeroxes Iran, and then Anders Wynn is also those are people that you can
especially for Middle Eastern related stuff because they're all Iranian American. Well, the bottom two are Iranian Americans that really have a ear to the ground over there.
So make sure that you do that and follow Lane and you follow me on Twitter, G Morgan Jr. We talk about this quite a bit, and sometimes we'll do a space to talk about some of these things. So if we need to, we'll do it. Not like some of those other spaces where they just tout stuff that's 50 or 60 minutes old and try to put their spin on it. Watch Slider with Crowder live Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.